day 2 session of theory of computation classes. So yesterday we have seen regular expressions and how to form regular expressions for the languages. Now it's time for us to introduce the automata which will recognize the regular languages. So finite automata, there are three types: deterministic finite automata, non-deterministic finite automata, in which we have two kinds. One is without epsilon moves, simply we call it as NFA, and this is NFA epsilon. So these are the basic automata that we have. First I will go with a deterministic finite automata, or in short, usually I will call DFA. Look at the figure and we have three circles. One of the circle is double circle, and each circle is labeled with Q0, Q1, Q2, and there are some arcs that are joining the circles and some are self loops with some labels. So with this figure in mind, I will introduce the deterministic finite automata. So a deterministic finite automata is basically consists of 5 parameters or 5 tuples. So whenever you want to define a DFA, you have to define these 5 parameters. The first one is set of states, which is denoted with Q, and in our figure there are 3 states: Q0, Q1, Q2. Then we have set of input symbols which will form the strings of your language and which will be given as input to your deterministic finite automata, and for processing it will process the given input string. So your input strings basically should be formed from this input alphabet. So we have two input alphabets, A comma B. Then we have delta, called transition function, which takes two inputs. One is set of states and one element is from the input alphabet. So this will transform or it will map to any one state. So as you can see, its domain is Q cross epsilon and its range is Q. So one state, one input symbol will give you another state, maybe same state or different state, it doesn't matter. So we will define what is delta. In your figure, if you see, Q0 has a transition on A which is going to Q0. That means it indicates that this is a transition where in Q0 state, if you get input A, you will go to Q0, the same state. And look at Q0 and this is B. So this input on B, Q0 on B will change its state to Q1 and so on. So this delta will be defined for each state and input symbol pair: Q0 on A, Q0 on B, Q1 on A, Q1 on B, and so on. Something is missing here. Q1 on A, I'll write Q1 on A. So Q1 on A will go to Q1. Q1 on A, don't matter, whatever it is. This B, A, on B it is missing. So Q1 on B, I'll go to Q1. Q1 on A, I'll go to Q2. Then Q2 on A, Q2 on B, Q1. So this is our delta, that is transition function, which will tell you on which state, on which input symbol to where it will go. Right? And remember, this should be a total function in case of DFA. That means for each and every state and input symbol, your transition function should be defined. This is important for DFA. As this changes, it may become NFA or NFA epsilon. Later we will see what are they. And Q0 is the initial state, that is in which initial state or in which state it starts processing the given input. Right? So here the input state is denoted with some arc with no tail, and head is the starting state, and no label for this arc. So this will tell you which is the initial state. Usually people will go for Q0. Next is set of final states. That means whenever after processing the input string, it may end up in some state, and some of the states are designated as the final states. Now here I have only one final state. You may have more than one final state, or you may not have final states also. It doesn't matter. Now the final states are denoted with the double circles that you have to observe. So this is the notation, and this is called transition diagram for the DFA. So whenever you want to define a DFA, either you have to define all this explicitly. So what is Q0, and what is sigma, then what is transition function and initial final states, or you can give this transition diagram which will tell you all things. It will tell you what is Q, what is sigma, then what is delta, what is final states, and what is initial. So everything is available here. Usually we'll prefer this transition diagram method for representing a DFA. So another example for DFA, you can see there are three states A, B, C. Now the initial state is A, and A on 0 is A on 1 is B. So this is an DFA which will accept the strings ending with 1, 0. So our sigma now is 0, 1. And you can see a set of states, and the initial state is A. The final states are C. Now you can see, you can also specify using a transition table. So this is called a table. I'm showing you a table for the same DFA. So this is called transition table. Either you can go for this, or you can go for this, or this. So both, all three will give you the same DFA. Look at this. In transition table, rows are labeled with states. Rows are labeled with states, and columns are labeled with your input symbols. So now my input alphabet is 0, 1. Now states are A, B, C. Now you can see this is initial state, this is final state. So in transition table, final states are shown with rounded off, right? Now you see A on 0 is A. It indicates that delta of A on 0. For state A, input 0, and it has to map to A. Then you can see A on 1 is going to B. So the cell containing A comma 1 is B. So delta of A comma 1 is B. Similarly, delta of B comma 0 is C, and so on. So this is how I will define. I can define the DFA. Right? Now look at this. How your DFA is going to take the inputs and process. For example, I am giving the input 0, 0, 1. Now let me see what happens if this input string, or the string 0, 0, 1 is given as input to your DFA, to this DFA. So I start in Q0, that is Q0 is now A, so always you have to start in the initial state. You have to start in the initial state. Then I am giving input 0, so first input from the string is 0, so A on 0, your transition table or the transition diagram or your specification will tell you. Now delta, transition function is telling you if your current state is A and input is 0, then you have to go to A. So this is what it is saying. So A on 0 is going to A. My next input symbol is 0. So A on 0 is A. The next input symbol is 1. A on 1 is going to B. So this is not, see it after processing all the input symbols, using your DFA is processing symbols one at a time. It cannot process more than one symbol, and after processing the current input symbol, it will go and ready for reading the next input symbol. It cannot come back. That is the limitation of this FA. So reading the first input symbol 0, it is going to the state whichever is specified by the DFA, and then it is reading the next input symbol, changing the state, read the next input symbol, change the state, and so on. So after reading all the input symbols 0, 0, 1, it is ending in the state B. Now B is not a final state. So I have specified what are final states and what are non-final states. So B is not a final state, and hence we reject the input string. Now we have rejected the input string. Now let me check for another string. 0, 1, 0. So A on 0 is A on 1 is B, your second input symbol. Then from B, third symbol, it will go to C. Now C is a final state, and when your DFA ends in one of the final states. Now here only one final state is there, but there may be more than one final state. If such is the case, if it ends in one final state, one of the final states, then the input string which you are given is accepted, and hence your 0, 1, 0 is accepted. Now let me go for 1, 1, 0, 1, 0. Then what happens? I have to start in A, then A on 1 goes to B, B on 1 goes to B, B on 0, C, C on 1, B, and B on 0, C. And this is a final state. Hence, this input string is accepted. Like this, you can process input string of any length. But for processing or for showing the processing of a given input string, you cannot specify in a informal way like this. So what I require is, if a given string, if an input string is given, I have to show the transition of the string using delta. For example, so for showing the delta, if you look at delta transition function, it will tell you only one state and one input symbol. But if I want to say one state and give an input string, so starting from state Q, if you give an input string, where it will end will be specified by delta star or extended transition function. The first thing is delta star of Q comma epsilon. Epsilon is null string. If you remember the yesterday's class, epsilon is null string. That means no input symbols is given. Then it is ending in the same state. That means without an input symbol, your DFA cannot change the state. So null string, you will be in the same state. Now suppose a string is given. So the given string is now XA. So delta star is for the string. So extended transition. Delta star of a state on XA, where X is a string and A is an input symbol, single input symbol. Usually I use the letters at the beginning of the alphabet for denoting symbols. Now delta star of Q comma XA, okay, it is defined like this. It is delta star of Q comma X, means first you have to process all the symbols in X and then you get a result. So it will go to some state. So take that state and give the input symbol, and you see the delta, the transition function, which is defined in the DFA definition. Then whatever you get is the result of delta star of Q comma XA. For example, let me show you for 0, 1, 1. Because I have start in A, I am starting for A. You can start in any other state, but I cannot tell you whether it is accepted or not accepted. If you want to say whether it is accepted or not accepted, you have to start in initial state. That's why I am starting in initial state. So delta star of A comma 0. Now you can see this 0 this 0 is divided as XA. Now your X is epsilon, A is single input symbol 0. Now delta star of A comma epsilon by definition it will not change, so A comma 0. So delta of A comma 0, or it is defined in your DFA, it says A on 0 is A. So it is just A on 0 is A. Now if I go for delta star of A comma 0 1, I am taking the next input symbol, next string with the next input symbol 0 1. If you write 0 1 as XA, your X will become 0, A will become 1, and delta of this is calculated in previous step. So A comma 1, A on 1 will go to B according to our DFA. You can see the transition table. Next I'll take A comma 0 0 1, and I have written 0 1 1 as 0 1 1 as A comma 0 1 and 1. So you get this is calculated in previous step. B on 1 is B. Now B is non-final state, so your input string is rejected or not accepted. I am giving you a definition where if you give an input string X, so a string X is accepted by DFAM and it is given as input to your DFA, and if we are starting in Q0. So once you start in Q0 and process your input string, after reading all the input symbol, if it ends in final state, one of the final state, then you can accept your input string. And this is notation which I'll use, the language accepted by DFAM, DFA or FA, the language accepted by DFAM. So L of M is equal to, it is the set of all strings that are accepted by the given DFAM. So now a language L, suppose a language L is given, then L is recognized by DFA or accepted by DFAM if and only if L equal to L of M. That is, all strings in L are present in L of M. Or these two sets are equal. This is one set and this is one set. This is the set of all strings accepted by DFA, and this is all strings in the language. If both these sets are equal, then we say this L is accepted by DFAM or L is recognized by DFAM. Now we'll see how to design DFA. So designing DFA, there is no hard and fast rule. You have to use your own intelligence and then you have to design. I'll show you how to design DFA based on some conditions. Now let me take a simple language. X contains odd number of ones. Your alphabet is 0, 1. So L is the language which will contain all strings in which the number of ones is odd. That means if you look at this nature of this language L, so you can just count on, if you have zeros you need not remember, because I want a pattern or something like the string should contain only odd number of ones. If odd number of ones are there, then we'll accept the string, otherwise we'll reject the string. So we don't bother about the number of zeros. So what I have to do is I have to keep in mind this. Remember, this DFA has no memory. It cannot remember or it cannot count the things so on. So what I can do is, if the number of, so only possibility is, if you count the number of ones, only possibility is either you have even number of ones or you have odd number of ones. That means either it should be even or it should be odd. When it is even, and if one more one is occurring in the string, then it becomes odd. When it is odd and you get one more one, it becomes even. So your number of when you are counting the number of ones, it is translating or it is switching between even and odd of the total number of ones. So what I do is, let us say I start in A, that means initially I am in A. So when I am in A, nothing is remembered, so no ones, nothing. So 0 also is treated as 1. Suppose I get 1. the number of ones you have to count. So I'll go to B, I'll change the state and assume that this B will give you odd number of ones because you got 1 will be an odd number of ones. Suppose I get one more 1, then I come back to A. So this A is for remembering even number of ones and B is for odd number of ones. Because we require even odd number of ones in the string, B is made as final state. Where you get zeros wherever you are, you get zeros. We don't count zeros because for us the count of number of zeros is not required for us, or we don't bother whether it is even or odd. So whenever I am in A or B, if I get zeros, I need not remember. So simply I just process and go further to get the next input. Whenever the input is 1, I will change the state. First even to odd, then odd to even. So if you look at this diagram, whenever you are in A, you can assume or you will be with even number of ones, whatever be the zeros. Whenever you will go to B, I am switching to B when the number of ones is odd. So this DFA is for accepting the strings that are ending in that will contain odd number of ones. Now next, I am going for another language which will end with AB. So what is your input alphabet? Input alphabet is A comma B. So even though I have not specified the input alphabet, when I am saying string ending with AB, your string will contain the number of A's and B's, some number of A's and B's. So your X is formed, or your language is formed for the strings of A and B and ends with AB. Right? Now look at this. So what I do is, if you observe the strings in this, it can be like this. The string may end in B, a string may end in A, but the last one is not required for us. What we require is the last two symbols. So if you observe any string which is formed, so before this it could be anything, any string which is formed from A's and B's may end with, suppose the last two symbols are required for me because the string should end with AB. So what are the possibilities? You can have AA, AB, BA, B. This is required for us. It should end with AB. So what I have to do is, if I keep on reading my input symbols in any string, suppose some string is given to your DFA, you just keep on reading. It cannot, your DFA cannot go back to the right end and can observe. It should start reading from the first symbol. So what we do is, it cannot come back. So what we have to do is, you read this and check if this is the last thing, it will take the decision. But you read this, and if this is A, then you can check for whether the next symbol is B or A. Because if this is B, it has to accept up to this. If this is the end, it will accept the string. But as it keeps on reading, it cannot come back. So every time it will remember whether the last two symbols it has read is A, B or not. So you just look at this. I started my input strings reading, and suppose you give this DFA B, then I need not remember that because I have to check for the pattern AB. So whatever the number of B's I get, I will be in Q0 because there is nothing for me to remember. Whether the string can any number of B's, but I don't want to remember. But because I need the pattern AB. Now I am in Q0. Suppose I get A, then I am changing the state because I have to check whether the next input symbol is B or not. If the next input symbol is B, you can accept. Otherwise, you need not do the things. Now look at this Q1. I changed the state. So you are in Q1 means the last input symbol you have read is A. Before that, you can have anything, this or anything. The last symbol you have read is A. So if I get one more A, I am in Q1 because I have to check for next B. Now look at this in Q1. If I get B, that means you are in Q1 because the last input symbol it has read is A, and when it is followed by B, Now up to now your string is ending with AB. So I am in Q2 because this is what is required for me. I made this as final state. Now suppose this is not the last thing and you get one more A. Then what happens? AB will now become BA. The last input symbols will become BA. So among BA, I require only A because my string should end with AB. So I'm just remembering the last A. So Q1 is the state for remembering A. So I'm coming back to A. Suppose it is B. After AB, you get B. The last two input symbols will become BB. And this BB is not part of or is not substring of what you require. So what I am doing is I am coming to Q0. That means you are in Q0 means once again you have to check for A and then you have to check for B. So this is how this DFA is designed. There may be different DFAs, different people will draw different DFAs, but only thing is it has to accept the strings ending with AP. Then we will say it is correct, otherwise it's going to be wrong. Somebody has posted a question. Is it necessary to have a transition on every input symbol of sigma on one state? Yes, exactly. When this is DFA, that is deterministic finite automata. For deterministic finite automata, this is required. For every input symbol, you should have a transition. Then only we say it is deterministic finite automata. There is other variations of FA that we will see later. But for DFA, it is required. It cannot crash in the middle. It has to continue and it has to take the decision at the end of the input. Right, coming back. Now I am taking another language which is some other having more patterns. So earlier I have taken simple language, then ending with AB. Now I am going for ending with 10 or 11. Now the pattern is a little bit extended. Earlier it was only AB. In place of A, I have 1, in place of B, I have 0. Or you can extend whatever be the input symbols, whether it is AB or 0, 1 or XY or whatever it is, we don't mind. Now I am going to design a DFA which will end with 10 or 11. So your language is strings ending with strings formed from 0 and 1, your input alphabet, and they should end with 10 or 11. Now what I require is the last two symbols should be 10 or 11. So if the symbol is 0, so I am starting from this initial state. So initially, if you have zeros, I need not remember. So I am still in A. Usually A stands for remembering nothing or null. So if it is zeros, I need not count them or I need not remember them. So I am just in A. Suppose I get 1, I am changing the state. So I am changing to B, means at the end you have 1 1. Next, after having 1 1, there are two possibilities for you. You can get 0 or you can get 1. You can get 0 or you can get 1. If it is 0, then I have to remember because it ends with 1 0. If it is 1 1, then I have to remember. So I am coming to D. I am now making two final strings because one of the strings will end with 1 0 or it can end with 1 1. Now you have to specify the states for C and D or transitions for C and D. Now let us go for C transitions. These two are final states because it is C is for remembering when the string ends with 1 0. The last two symbols are 1 0. D is for the last two symbols are 1 1. Now let me go for C transitions. So now the last two symbols are 1 0. If you get a 0, then the last two symbols will become 0 0. And this 0 0 is not required for me because last I should have 1 0 or 1 1. But when it is 0 0, so I am going to A because A will remember nothing. Or your string does not match the pattern with 1 0 or 1 1. So I am going to A. If it is 1, then if 1 0 something is here and 1 0 where you are in C. Suppose you add one more 1. What happens? You see, you have to remember only this. This is not required for me. So I am going to B. B is for remembering. It ends with 1. So I am coming to 1. Now I am switching back to D. Those are the two input symbols that are possible for me. One is 0 and one is 1. Now when you are in D means your last two input symbols are 1 1. So 1 1. Now suppose I get 0. What happens? Last two symbols will become 1 0 and C is the state for remembering 1 0. Remember in DFA or FA, one state will remember one configuration. If you mix these two, it may accept some of the strings, but sometimes it will never. It will accept some strings which are not in this pattern. So FA is very limited, and its memory is also limited. It cannot remember infinite number of configurations. So one state, one configuration. So 1 1, when it is followed by 0, the last two symbols will become 1 0. So I am going to C. And if it is 1, then 1 1 followed by 1, once again you will end up with 1 1. So I am going to D. So this is your DFA. If you want, you can check whether the strings are accepted or not. For example, let me say for 0 0 1. So I have to start from A because A is initial state. A on 0, A. Then once again A on 0, A. Then A on 1, B. You see this string. And because B is non-final state, your input string is not accepted. Now suppose I go for 1 1 0 1, then A on 1, B, B on 1, D. You have to, actually you have to use delta star, but I am just showing you pictorially. So B on 1 goes to D. You see 1 1 is there at the end. Now from D if you get 0, then it is going to C. So 1 0, C is for 1 0, right? If it is followed by 1, so 1 1 0 1, C on 1 is going to B. Now you see the last two input symbols are 0 1. Among 0 1, 1 is required for me, so it is ending in B. But because this is non-final state, this is not accepted. Now let me go for 1 1 0. A on 1, B, B on 1, D, then D on 0, C. C is final state, it belongs to a set of final states and hence your input string is accepted. You give any string, if it ends in 1 0 or 1 1, it will accept. If it ends in 1 0, it will end in C. If the last two symbols are 1 1, it will end in D. You can test for anything. Now this is another DFA for strings containing AB as substring. Now look at this. There is a difference between, this is a previous FA. If you look at this FA is for ending in AB. That means the last two symbols are AB. Now here, the difference between that language and this language is that this language, look at this language, AB should be at the end. AB should be at the end. But this language, AB can be anywhere. AB can be anywhere. Now look at this. As soon as I get AB, anywhere, whether it is a beginning, middle, or anywhere, one AB occurring, then you can accept the string because it says AB should be a substring. It will not say any number of times or how many number of times. So one time AB, then after that you can get anything, your input string is accepted. But because it has to process all the input symbols, then I have put this A, B. So once you are in, you reach C, one AB is there. So after that you get anything, it will be accepted. Now look at this language and this language. This language is strings that do not contain AB. Now here AB should be a substring, and in this language AB is not a substring. AB should not occur. Now if I start in A, AB is not there, so I can accept. So A is made as final state because so far there is no string which is ending with AB. So AB is not there. So I am accepting. Null string is also part of this language because null string does not contain AB. So this language contains all strings where there is no AP at all, anyway, right? So any number of bits you can accept. So this is final state. 1A is, I get 1A, then I'm going to B, because I have to check if it is followed by B, I should not accept. So if it is followed by A, then you can remember or you can accept any number of A's. But as immediately when you get B after A, then I'm going to C. This is non-final state. And after that, because one AB is there anywhere, you can simply reject your string after you processing all the input symbols. Whatever be the input symbols, whether it is A or B, any number, I should not accept it. And that is why such states in which you enter into a state and you will never come back and you will never accept the strings, whatever the string, because one AB is there. After that you get any symbols, either A or B or any strings, your input string can be straight away rejected. So such type of states are called indefinite states. Indefinite states or dead states, whatever it is. So once you enter into them, you will not come back, but your string will not be accepted. Such states will be called as dead states or indefinite states. So whatever it is. So this is for if you observe these two diagrams, later I'll tell you. But now you can observe that the set of final states and non-final states between these two diagrams is swapped. Final states here are non-final states and non-final states here are final states, except that everything is same. So this is the language L. If this is language L, then this becomes L dash or complement. This is how you can design complement of a given language. But later I will come back to it in detail. A little bit complicated. Strings ending with even number of A's and odd number of B's. Now my language is even. For example, suppose if I write A, B, A. So now I have even number of A's. So two A's are there and number of B's are odd. So this is my in the language. Now suppose I write B. Now this will be in the language because I have even number of A's and odd number of B's. Suppose something right, I write A, B, B. This will not be in your language. This does not belong to the language A, B, right? Because number of B's are even. They could be anywhere. You just count the total number of A's and total number of B's. Then A's should be even, number of A's should be even, number of B's should be odd. Erase it. Right. Now, how I design DFA for this? Let me go for designing DFA. First, you should have a clear knowledge of what are the strings in your language and what are not the strings in your language and what pattern they follow. Right. So, if you count the number of, suppose I take a string which is formed from A's and a B's, and I count the number of A's in X. I denote number of A's in X with NA and number of B's in X with NB. Now, if you count this, to count the number of A's and number of B's in a given string, there are four possibilities for you. Those four possibilities you can easily guess. Even number of A's and even number of B's. Look at this. So I have four configurations. One is even number of A's and even number of B's. Even number of A's, odd number of B's. So this is for A and this is for B. Then odd number of A's, even number of B's, then odd number of A's and odd number of B's. These are the four possibilities. Apart from this, nothing will exist. Anything you count should fall in these four categories. So my DFA should handle these things, right? So I require four states. One state for this. See, when you start at the beginning, the number of A's and number of B's will be 0 because I am starting initial state and no input is read so far. So the number of A's is 0, number of B's is 0, which is even. So I am assuming that state A, I will be in state A when the number of A's in the ring, in the string so far you have read. You will take the decision at the end, but I have been reading one by one from left to right. So on the current input symbol, I have to make the decision. If the current input symbol is the end, you can declare your decision. But so I keep on reading. So whenever I'm in A, I assume that A is for even number of A's, even number of B's, and B is for odd number of A's and even number of B's. Then C is for odd number of A's and even number of B's, and D is for even A's and odd B's. Now look at when I am in A, means even number of A's and even number of B's. Suppose I get or I add to this string which contains even number of A's and even number of B's. If A is added, one A is added or concatenated with A, then what happens? Number of A's will transform to odd number of A's, but B's will remain even. So I am coming to B because B is for remembering odd A's and even B's. Suppose you get B, then number of A's will remain same even, but number of B's count will increase to odd or will transform to odd. So I am coming to B. Similarly, you can design the transitions. You are in B, you get A, then odd A's will become even A's and even B's will be as it is. And similarly, for B transitions on B, for C and for D, you can do this thing. So you can give any strings of A's and B's. So this I am making final state because what I require is even number of A's and odd number of B's. Suppose somebody asks you for odd number of A's and odd number of B's, then you can make even A's and this should be odd. It's not even, this should be odd. Let's make the correction. So this should be odd number of B's. So even number of A's and even number of B's, you get one more B, then this should be odd number of A's and odd number of B's. Suppose somebody asks you to design DFA for odd number of A's and odd number of B's, then you have to go for C as final state. If somebody asks you odd number of A's and even number of B's, then B should be final state. Depending on the odd number of state, the number of A's and B's, whatever is required, you can make the final states. Right? So you can give any input to this. If the number of A's and B's are even and odd, it will end up in D. For example, suppose I go A, B, B. If I give A, B, B, what happens? I start in A. So A on A will go to B, and B on B will go to C, and C on B. C on B will go to B. Now B is non-final state, so your string ABB is rejected. Suppose I give ABA. Let me check ABA. Then A on A will go to B. Then B on B will go to C, and C on A will go to D. So D is final state, and hence your string is accepted. Suppose I give 1B, then what happens? A on B will come to D. So D. So D is your input final state. So this B is accepted. So you can check for any strings. A bigger DFA. So you can just have a look at it. This is for X contains 1 in third position. So from right end. Or in other words, I'll say X from the right end in third position you have 1, or I can say 1 0 0 1 0 1. X ends in 1 0 0 1 0 1 and so on. Instead of specifying all those things, I'm saying from the third symbol. Suppose for example I take 0 1 0 0. This is the third position from right end. So this string belongs to this language L. If I go for 1 0 0 1. Now from right end, third position is 0. So this does not belong to the language L, right? So if you look at this, this is a bigger DFA and bigger language. Look at this. These two are not required for me. Only this third one. So this can be anything. But the possibilities for this are many. So you require 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1. So what do you require is 1, 0, 0. You have to remember these patterns 1, 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1. So in all this, if your string ends with like this X, and from right end the third symbol is 1. So you require 4 patterns. Look at these 4 patterns 1, 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 0, 1. Then now look at this. I'm starting in the initial state. You can see in the states I have specified 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 0, 0, 1, 0. Just to remember that E is for 1, 0, 0, F is for 1, 0, 1. But actually you should not write this. Just to illustrate, I am writing 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1 and so on. So that E is for remembering, at the end you have 1, 0, 0. F for at the end you have 1, 0, 1 and so on. Right? So initially when I start in A, if I get zeros, I need not remember. Suppose I get 1, I am coming to B. So B is for at the end you have 1. Now suppose from B on 0 I am going to 1, 0 because I have to remember 1, 0. Then another 0. So I am coming to 1, 0, 0. So for whatever you have read, your input string ends in 1, 0, 0. Similarly 1, 0, 1 F. Then 1, 1, 0. Then 1, 1, 1. Okay? Now, suppose I am here in E and suppose I get 0. Then what happens? The last 3 symbols, earlier it was 1, 0, 0. Now suppose I add one more 0. What happens? Last 3 symbols will become 0, 0. And this is not any substring of your given pattern. So if the last this is 0, I need not remember. So what I am doing is I am coming to A. The transition on 0 is A. And if 1 is followed, you get 0, 0, 1. 1, 0, 0 followed by 1. What happens? 0, 0, 1. And among this will become a substring of your pattern. So I am coming to 1. This 1 is required for me because if it is followed by any 2 symbols, then it should be accepted. So I am coming to B. Similarly, for F, you can do the transitions. 1, 0, 1 followed by 0. Suppose you get 0. Then what happens? 0, 1, 0. Among 0, 1, 0, you require only 1, 0. So I am going to C. And similarly, all other transitions. Now, you can see the regular expression for this DFA. See, any zeros and ones followed by are concatenated with 1, then 0 on 1, 0 on 1. So, this is the regular expression for this DFA or for this language. In fact, I will say for this language. You can observe the number of states in this DFA 4 to 6 plus 1 7 plus 1 8. If you get suppose x contains 1 in the 4th position, then you have to remember more number of states. So usually for this type of languages, the number of states in the DFA, minimum state DFA, I will tell you what is minimum state DFA later. The number of minimum states in the DFA will be 2 power k. Will be 2 power k. If it is 3, 2 power 3, you require 8 states. If it is 4, you require 16 states. If it is 5, you require 32 states. Less than that is not possible. You cannot design a DFA. For example, if you look at this is same as saying second symbol from the right end is 1. You see, whether it ends with 1, 0 or 1, 1, the second symbol from the right end. This language and the language in which 1 appears in the second symbol from the right end is 1 is same. So how many you required? 1, 2, 3, 4, 2 power 2. This is the minimum number you require. Less than this is not possible. When it is k, it is 2 power k. That you have to remember. Sometimes they'll ask you what is the minimum number of states required for this type of language. It is 2 power k. If this is k, then you require 2 power k states. Less than that is not possible, any DFA. So that's all about DFA. You can design any number of DFAs. Now we'll go to non-deterministic finite automata. Now earlier what we have defined is deterministic finite automata. Now I will go for the next variation of the finite automata, non-deterministic finite automata. Why it is called non-deterministic means you observe this diagram. On input 1, on input 0, A on 0 is going to 0, but A on 1, there are 0 comma 1 means this is equal to 2 transitions. A on 0 is A on 1 is A on 1 is also B. That means I am saying that for state A, if you give input, I am specifying A comma B. That means you can go to A or you can go to B. Now you have a choice. The FA has a choice to go whether to A or to B. It can decide. It can go to A or it can go to B. And if you look at B, a transition on 0 is going to C, a transition on 1 is missing. Your input symbols are 1, 0, 1, but only one input symbol I am specifying. B on 0 goes to C. And if you look at C, there are no transitions at all on 0 or on 1. So your NFA or your FA is unable, sometimes it is unable to decide to which state it has to go because it has multiple states, and sometimes there are no transitions at all. So there is a non-determinism in your finite automata. When you give an input string, you cannot say in which state exactly it can end. Suppose on 1 it chooses to go to A, then the path will be different. If it chooses to go to B and then process, path will be different. That is why this is called non-deterministic finite automata. And similarly, this is so the difference between DFA and NFA lies in transition function. The remaining things are same. Set of states, set of input symbols. So I have 5 parameters: Q, sigma, delta, Q0, yeah. Everything is same. All these 4 are same except delta. Now you see delta. Earlier it was Q for DFA. Now it is 2 power Q. That is power set. It can go to more than 0 or more states. If it is 0, this will be 5. Or it can go to 1 state, or it can go to more than 1 state. If you observe this, NFA is DFA is a special case of NFA. DFA is special case, the case in which every state and every input symbol has only one transition. That is DFA. The NFA in general, it can go to 0 or more transitions. So this is your non-deterministic finite automata for something. Now this is another non-deterministic finite automata. So A on 0, 1 and so on. This is how you can specify non-NFA with the transition table. Now you can see A on 1 is now A, B, D. A, B, D. For C there are no transitions. And for E there are no transitions and so on. So I am showing you 2 non-deterministic FAs. Then why NFA? When there is DFA, then why we have to go for NFA? Because look at this particular picture is from John C. Martin textbook, good textbook for formal language and automata theory, one of the good textbooks. This is a language which is defined by some regular expression, and this is a regular language. So For this language, if you want to design DFA, this is the DFA. This is the DFA. You see, it is very difficult to draw a DFA for this because you cannot guess, or in other words, it is very difficult to guess the patterns or to decide which patterns are available and which patterns are not available, which patterns you have to remember, and so on. So, this is the DFA very difficult to draw, but look at the NFA. The NFA is very easy to draw. You just see 1 1 R comma means R plus. It is same as 1 1 plus 1 1 0. This is the shorthand notation many textbooks will use. 1 1 plus 1 1 0 whole star then 0. This is the regular expression. Now you say 1 1 or 1 1 0 can be repeated any number of times. Look at this pattern. Can be repeated any number of times. So 1 1. Q0 on 1 is going to Q1, Q1 on 1 is coming back to Q0. You see, you can be in Q0 and you can repeat this any number of times. Q0, Q1, Q0, Q0, Q1, Q0. This is for repeating 1 1 and this is for repeating 1 1 0. Now you can see either 1 1 or 1 1 0 can be repeated. And finally, if you get 0, finally if I get 0, I am coming to Q4. This is my final state. Now you see 1 1 or 1 1 0 repeated any number of times, and 1 0 followed by the last 0, I am coming to Q4. So this is the NFA. You see how easy to draw NFA for a given regular expression. That is why we have gone for designing of NFA. Look at the previous NFAs. These are the NFAs I have introduced. This NFA is for 0 or 1 whole square. Look at this A. 0 or 1 repeated any number of times. So 0 or 1 repeated. Because it is single input symbol, I am writing 0 comma 1. If it is double, you should not write it. 0 or 1, 1 0 or 1 1. Look at this 0 or 1 repeated, 1 0 or 1 1. And this is for 0 or 1 repeated any number of times followed by 1 and 0. It's very easy. Actually, this is for ending with 1 0. You observe, these strings will end with 1 0. These strings will end with 1 0 or 1 1. And this is for, so yeah, drawing NFA is very easy compared to DFA. Now, because there is a choice, you have to say how to accept the given strings. So, for that, if you want to process a string, you have to define delta star, that is extended transition function for n. This is the definition. So, null string is given no change of state. Now, when a string is given, X is a string, A is input symbol. So, this entire thing will be a string. First, you have to take the transitions on X. So, your R belongs to Q comma X. Q comma X. R belongs to delta star of Q comma X. This is Q. Q comma X. The R belongs to delta star of Q comma X. First you process on X from the state, and because this is NFA, you will have a choice. It may go to more than one state. So you take all such states and apply delta on those states and make the union. That is the meaning of this notation. So you start in Q, process the input string X, then you will end up in some states more than one or sometimes zero also, zero or more states. Take all those states and apply delta on all those states and make the unit. Right? If I work out, it's going to be easy for you. Let me go for delta star of A comma epsilon. As per definition, null string no change. Now delta star of A comma 0. Suppose I give one input symbol 0. Then what I have to do? First I have to apply A and X. X is now epsilon. A comma epsilon. Now on epsilon it is A. So A on 0 is A. Now A comma 0 1. So first your X is now 0, A is 1. So that I have calculated in previous step, and that is R belongs to A. Now R comma, this is 1. Now A on 1 is, now A on 1, if you look at A on 1, A on 1, I am showing you here, A on 1 is A, B and D according to our transition diagram. So it is going to ABD. So delta star of A for string 0 1. So that means if you start in state A and give 0 1 as input, you will end up in either A or B or D. It can take a choice. So I am showing you, you may end up in A, or you may end up in B, or you may end up in D. Now suppose I give 0 1 1. Then what happens? If I give 0 1, I am ending in A, B, D. So if I end up in A, then I will take up next one and I will see what happens. If I end up in B, then I will take B and take 1. If I end up in D, then I will start in D and take the next one. So what happens? A on 1 is ABD, B on 1 is 5, see B on 1 is no transition, D on 1 is E. So what you have got? Union of this A, B, D, 5, E. So A, B, D, E. So I am ending in, suppose I give 0, 1, 1 as input to this NFA. One choice will end in A, one choice will end in B, another choice will end in D, another choice will end in E. These are the 4 possible paths for the input string 0, 1, 1. For example, let us say I give 0, 1, 1. Then if I take 0, A on 0 A on 1 is A on 1 is B, then you will be in A. Similarly, A on 0, A on 1 A, I take now A on 1 is A and A on 1 is B. If I take, I will end up in B. Likewise, you can enumerate all the things. Now, how to say whether this input string is accepted or not? Among these all paths, at least one, there may be more than one. At least one of these is a final state. Then your input string is accepted. What are your final states? C, E. That is one final state. Hence, your input string is accepted. So if it takes this choice, it will end up in E, and because this is final state, even though these are not accepted, we don't mind. But because we are in E, one of the final state, our string is accepted. That is how I have defined the acceptance of a string in NFA. A string X is accepted by NFA if delta star of Q0 initial state and string intersection F. That means in F there must be at least one state in this set. Then if it is not equal to 5, then your input string is accepted. Just like DFA, for NFA, the language accepted by NFA is the set of all such strings for which your NFA will end in one of the final state. And if there is a language L, then we say that L is recognized by NFA M or L is accepted by M if and only if L equal to L of M. That means any string from L should be accepted by this. Right? That is all about NFA. And now I am showing you NFAs for different languages. First NFA is for, if you have observed this language is the language of strings in which third symbol from right hand is 1. Third symbol from right hand is 1. Look at the DFA. This is the DFA. This is the DFA designed for the same language. Now this is the NFA. NFA is easy. And this is for containing AB as substring. AB as substring. You can see its counterpart. What is its DFA? And this is for strings ending with AA or AB. Strings ending with AA or AB. So the NFA is easier. Now you can see NFA is not powerful than DFA. What does it mean? Means every NFA has an equivalent to DFA. That means if you are able to design an NFA, then you can design an equivalent to DFA for the same language. That means we say that suppose M1 is NFA and M2 is DFA, then you can find any M1 and M2 may be equal. That means for every language that is recognized by NFA, there is a corresponding DFA. Then how do we find out the equivalent DFA? So you can convert every NFA into DFA. There is a procedure. So what you can do is, if some language is given and you are unable to design DFA, that is, it is difficult for you to design DFA for the given language, then what you can do is you can design first NFA and then convert it to DFA using this procedure. Okay? So how do we convert? If you look at the transition functions of NFA and DFA, there is a small difference. Difference is NFA is able to go to more than one state, but DFA is able to go to only one state. So what we do, if that is the case, we will make more than one state as a single state. That means every member of 2 power q. 2 power q is power set. If you are familiar with, you should be familiar. Not you are familiar. Power set of a given set. 2 power q means power set of a given set. It will include all subsets of q. All subsets means any members. 1 member, 0 members, 2 members, 3 members, 4 members, and so on. So every such member is now made as a new state in the DFA. So if, for example, look at this. If suppose A, B are the states in NFA, then in DFA we'll have all its subsets. What are its subsets? Power set means set of subsets of Q. So subsets of AB, phi, A, B, AB. Suppose you have Q is K. That means there are K states in the NFA. Then in your DFA, you will have 2 power k states at most. This is one of the bits that will be asked in GATE. If NFA has k states, then in the corresponding DFA, you will have at most 2 power k states. That is, maximum is 2 power k. This belongs to the set theory. Now let us see how we can convert the given NFA to DFA. I am not proving the theorem. but I am just showing you how we can convert NFA to DFA. Simple formula. What you have to remember is, if delta is the transition function for the NFA, this is given for us, M. Or let me call it as N, because this is NFA, I'll call it as N. Now I have to design DFA D. Let us say D is the, I have to design equivalent DFA. Let us say delta 1 is the transition function. You have to specify what is delta 1 for this. You know what are the states. States of this DFA are nothing but subsets of your state, of your NFA. There are 4, but let us see, all 4 may not be useful for me. Whichever is full, I'll use them. How I can find is, I'll start from the initial state. Delta 1 is for DFA. Delta is for NFA, that you have to remember. Delta 1 of A comma 0 is simply delta star of A comma 0. Delta star is extended transition function for NFA. So A on 0 is A. It's okay, single state, so no problem. A on 1, delta 1 of A on 1 is delta star of A on 1 is, it is equal to A comma 1. So now A on 1 can go to A and B. Because it is NFA, I am able to make 2 transitions, but now it is not possible because it is DFA. So I am just combining these 2 states and making a new state. I am just naming it as QAB, or you can rename with any other thing, 1, 2, 3, 4, or say DF, whatever it is. But just to remember that this QAB is the combination of 2 states. What are those 2 states? From NFA, A and B. And just renaming it with AB. Now, so this A is already available for me, and A on 0, A on 1 I have calculated. But for this is a new state which is not available in NFA. Now in DFA, this must be a state, a new state. So I have got a new state AB. So for this AB, I am calculating what are the transitions on 0 and 1, because on DFA you have to specify QAB on A what it is, QAB on B on 1 what it is. So QAB on 1 in your DFA is, I am showing you directly, it is equal to take A on 0 and take B on 0 from NFA, A on 0 from NFA, B on 0 from NFA. So A on 0 in NFA is A, B on 0 in NFA is C. So A, C, I am making the union. So this is new states and I am making them as a new state. This is a new combination, AC, which are not renamed. Earlier AB was a combination, I renamed. This is another new combination I am resulting, and this is named as AC. So AB on 0 is QAC. Now AB on 1. On 0 I have calculated, on 1 I have to calculate. So I am writing directly A on 1. A on 1 is A, B. B on 1, QAB is nothing but A and B in your NFA. So in NFA, A on 1 is AB and B on 1 is nothing. So their union is AB. So I am getting AB. Similarly, I have new state AC. So for the A I have calculated, if AB I have calculated for AC. Now I go for AC on 0, AC on 1, AC on 0. So in your NFA you have to see what is A on 0 and C on 0. A on 0 is A, C on 0 is 5. So their union is A. Then A on 1 is AB and C on 1 is 5. So union is A. That is QA. No more new states. So this you have to do until either you exhaust all the states or no other new combination is available. So if you start from A, there is a possibility for you to go to A or A this or this or this or this or this. Any other combination is not useful. If you want to calculate, you can calculate the transitions, but they are not going to be useful. All transitions in your DFA will be only in this, or they will just go in these states. The remaining states will be dead states. You need not calculate. Now you have to fix the final states. You have to fix the final states such that in this combination, at least one of them, this combination contains a final state. So A, AB, AC, then AB. So I have A, AB, AC. Now in this, at least one in this combination, at least one of them is a final state. You make it as a final state. Now this is not a final state because the final states in NFA is C. Now in A and B there is no final state. So this is non-final state. In A and C there is a final state. In your NFA C is final state. So this combination will become a final state. So this is your DFA for the given equivalent for the given NFA. If you want, you can check. This DFA will accept all strings ending in 10. Similarly, this NFA will also accept all strings ending in 10. So these two are going to be equal. Now another example from Jansi Martin textbook. If you want, you can study this textbook. So this NFA is for this 0 or 1 whole star 1, 0 or 1, 0 or 1. Strings in which the third symbol from right hand is 1. Right? And the corresponding DFA. If you convert this NFA into DFA, what you get is this. This is NFA and this is your equivalent DFA. How they are calculated? You can just go for this. For example, suppose on Q0, if I want to see what is Q0 in DFA, delta 1 of Q0 on 0, what do you get? In your NFA, Q0 on 0 is Q0. So delta 1 of Q0 on 0 is Q0. Then what is delta 1 of Q0 on 1? In your NFA, Q0 on 1 is Q0 and Q1. So it is Q0 and Q1. So I'm making it as Q01. Or you can rename with the A, B, C or whatever it is. He has renamed as Q0, Q1. This is one state. So this is new combination. So you have to start making the transitions for Q01. So you have to calculate now. So earlier, now Q0 on 1. So delta of Q01 comma 0. Then you have to calculate delta 1 of Q01 comma 1. For example, if I want to calculate for 01 on 0, 01 is equal to Q0 and Q1. So Q0 on 0 is Q0. So Q0 on 0 is Q0. Then Q1 on 0. Q1 on 0 is Q2. So you get Q0, Q2. This is a new combination which is not renamed. So I am going for Q02. You see Q01 is on 0 is going to Q02. Similarly, Q01 on 1. Suppose Q0 on 1. What is Q0 on 1? Q0, Q1. Then Q1 on 1. Q1 on 1 is Q2. So now you have got a new combination Q012. See Q01 on 1 is Q012. Now this is a new combination and this is a new combination. So you have to calculate Q02 on 0 and Q02 on 1. Then Q012 on 0, Q012 on 1. And you have to continue. Now look at this. This is made final state because in this combination, one of them is a final state Q3. So this is final state. This is a non-final state because 0 and 2 both are non-final state. In this Q0, Q1, Q3, this is a final state, and in this there is a final state, and this there is a final state. So these are the 4 states I got. So this is your NFA and converted to DFA. Okay? You can give any input string. If the string is accepted here, it will be accepted here. If the string is rejected here, it will be rejected here, and vice versa. Then only we can say these two are equal. We cannot say, suppose all the strings accepted in this NFA are accepted here. In addition to that, if I accept some other strings which are rejected here, we cannot say these two are equal. These two will become equal only when Any string accepted here is accepted here, any string rejected here is rejected here, and similarly any string accepted in NFA is accepted here, rejected here, rejected here. Then only we say these two are equal. Now we have another NFA. We have NFA with epsilon moves. In the previous NFA drawing NFA is easier. Now why NFA epsilons means for some languages even drawing NFA epsilon is NFA is difficult. So we go for NFA with epsilon moves. So epsilon moves means null moves. Without any input symbol, you can make the transition. Earlier, without input symbols, there are no transitions between the states. Now your FA is now able to switch without taking any input symbol. So on null symbol also or on null string also, it can change the state. For example, look at this. This is the NFA for this language, little bit difficult, but for the same language, this is another language, and down there you are seeing the equivalent NFA epsilons, which are easy and simpler when compared with your NFAs. Now this is NFA for this is NFA for this, and the equivalent NFA epsilons. Now you can see what you have to observe here is this. You are starting in some state or any state. Now you see Q0, Q1 to P0, Q1 to P0. There is a transition, but which is given with epsilon. So some people will use epsilon. In this textbook, they have used epsilon for this symbol for null string. So Q1 to P0, it can go without taking any input symbol. Q0 to Q1, it requires one input symbol 0. Q1 to Q1, it requires one input symbol. But to go from Q1 to Q0, it need not require. Simply, it can switch from Q1 to P0 and then start its working. Similarly, for this, if this is Q0 or something, whatever it is, you just say A. Then A on epsilon can go to Q0, A on epsilon can go to P0. Right? So drawing NFA epsilon is easier. That is why we are going. Even though NFA is there, for some of the languages NFA is difficult, so we are going for NFA epsilon. Now just look at the definition of NFA epsilon. Everything is same just for NFA and NFA epsilon. Only difference is in the transition function. All remaining things are same. Q is same, input symbols is same, delta is different, then Q0 the initial state, then F the set of final states. Everything is same, only change is in delta. That is transition function. Earlier it was Q plus epsilon to 2 power Q. You look at your NFA definition. Look at this NFA definition. Where is it? Here. Q cross epsilon to 2 power Q. That means one state and one input symbol to many number of states. But if you look at NFA epsilon, one input state, it may be one input symbol or it may be no symbol at all. That is epsilon. This is extra. So without any input symbol also, it can go to more than one state. So this is for your NFA epsilon. So this is called NFA epsilon moves. Then how do we make the transitions? For example, suppose I give, I'm considering, let me erase all this. Let me say 0, 1, 0 is given for this. Then what happens is 0, I start from Q0. Let me start from Q0. Then on 0, Q0 on 0 goes to Q1 and it goes to P0. So On 0 you are going to P0 and Q1, two states, and from P0 you get 1. What do you get on 1? P0 on 1 is going to P1, and Q1 on 1 is going to Q1. So this is after 1. Then after 0, suppose, so P1, you are in P, suppose you are in P1 and P1 on 0, there is no state, so nothing, and Q1 on 0, nothing. So this string is not accepted, right? 0 on 0. I give the same string here. Then you can start, let me symbol it as A. So A on 0. There is no transition for A on 0. But before taking this 0, without taking anything, it says you can go to Q0. So if I start in A and take the next input symbol, there is no choice for me. But before taking this 0, I can go to Q0 and take the next input symbol. Look at this and take next input symbol. It is same, both are same. Or you can start in A and take the input symbol, or from A don't take any input symbol and go to P0 and then take the next input symbol. So this NFA epsilon on 0 can start in A and take 0, or you go to Q0 and take the next input symbol, or you go to P0 and take the next input symbol. So this on 0, A on 0, no transitions. So A on epsilon, I'll go to Q0 and then take 0. Then what happens? Q0 on 0 goes to Q1. Then P0 on 0 goes to P0. Right? This is the choice of paths for this NFA epsilon on 0. A, then take 0, nothing. From A, take nothing and go to Q0, then take your 0. And from A, take nothing and go to P0 and then take your next 0. Or suppose there is one more epsilon transition, from 0 it can go to there and then do it. But anyway, only thing is, before reading the next input symbol, it can take any number of input null transitions and then it can start there. Either it can start in the current state and take the symbol, or you take an epsilon transition and then start with the new state. Everything is going to be same. That is how you can process your string. In your diagram or on your board, you can see this is the NFA for 0 star, 1 star, 2 star. That is, the strings in this language are any number of zeros followed by any number of ones followed by any number of twos. So this is your NFA epsilon. So how do we process strings on, suppose you give some input string for this NFA epsilon and see whether it accepts or not. Working with hand is going to be very difficult because you will get many choices. So what I do is, working with strings, I have to define delta star for, or extended transition function for NFA epsilon. So how do I define extended epsilon transition function? Delta star for NFA epsilon. So before defining that delta star for NFA epsilon, you need to understand what is epsilon closure of a set of states. Epsilon closure of a set of states. So just describing what is epsilon closure means, suppose you take a single state. For example, let me take a single state, say P. Let us say I take a single state, say A. Then from A, starting from A, if you move using only epsilons, if you make the transition using all epsilons, only epsilons, any number, it can be 0 or more, what are the states you can reach is called epsilon closure of A. For example, you take this A, I start in A. If I take no transition, that is null. Null means nothing. So you can be in A. Starting in A is same as reaching A, right? A. If I take one epsilon transition, then I can go to B and I can stay in B. And suppose from B there is another epsilon transition, then I can go to that state and stay there. That means you started in A, so you can stay in A, or you can go to B using one epsilon transition, or you can decide to go to C and stay there. That means from A you are able to reach either A or B or C using only null transition. So this is the epsilon closure of A. Only A. Suppose I go for epsilon closure of B, then what do you get? B. So because starting in B, reaching in B is same. Then using one epsilon transition, I can go to B. So this is epsilon closure of B. Then what is epsilon closure of C? Only C. Because there is no epsilon transition from C. So you can start in C and stay in C without reading anything. For example, if you take this epsilon closure of Q0 is only Q0. Epsilon closure of Q1 is U1 and P0, because you can go to P0 using epsilon, right? Likewise, you can do that. So that is the general description, and this is the formal way of defining your epsilon closure. Every element of P is in PE. Now I am going to take a set of states. Set of states is nothing but take individual states, calculate the epsilon closure and make the union. Then you will get epsilon closure for a set of states. Suppose it contains A and B. Then you calculate A, make the epsilon transitions, then you calculate take B and take the epsilon closure and make the union. Then you will get epsilon closure for a set of states, more than one state. So this is how you can calculate epsilon closure for a given set of states. How you calculate? Every member of P is included in PE, because starting in the same state is same as ending in the same state. Then take the states in PE, and if there is any epsilon transition, then you include every element of that epsilon transition into PE, that is epsilon closure, and you repeat this step 2 repeatedly until you get no more new states. So once you reach the end of new states, then you can conclude there and say what is your epsilon closure. And that is how I have calculated in the previous stages. For example, if I want to calculate epsilon closure of A, first I will include A. Every element of P is in a P epsilon closure. Then there is an epsilon delta of A and epsilon is B, so I have added B. Now this is new thing added, so delta of B and epsilon is C, so C is added. That is how I have calculated. If I calculate for this, say Q0, delta Q0, every element of P, and Q0 and epsilon there is nothing, so this is your epsilon closure of Q0. So you can do anything. Right? Now, based on that definition, I'll go for delta star or extended transition function definition for NFA epsilon. Now, how it is defined? 2 points. One is delta star of Q comma epsilon is epsilon closure of Q. This notation usually I'll use for epsilon closure of Q. Right? So earlier for NFA and for DFA it is only Q. There is no epsilon closure. Now because for NFA and DFA there is no epsilon transition, so I said starting in the same state is same as ending in the same state. But because there are epsilon transitions, starting in Q is not same as starting in Q. Starting in Q is same as starting in any state in epsilon closure. That is why delta star of Q comma epsilon is epsilon closure of Q. Then delta star of Q comma XA is, earlier it was union of, for NFA it was union of R belongs to delta star of Q comma X. Q taken and applied for X, taking X as input, you get a set of states. For those set of states, you take the input A, that is the symbol A, and make delta. Then you get a set of states. Now, Earlier for NFA it is only up to this. It is only up to this because set of states is enough. But for those set of states, you have to take the epsilon closure for NFA epsilon. So that is how I define delta star. And similarly, delta star is same for accepting a string x, y and NFA epsilon is same just like NFA. Language is same and the language recognized by NFA epsilon is also same. All these are same except this. Only thing is, before reading an input symbol, you can take an epsilon closure and then apply your transition and then apply epsilon closure, whatever it is. So before reading the symbol, you take the epsilon closure and then take your symbol, then apply the transition and then you take the epsilon closure. Then you will get the exact states which it can reach on A. That is what is called a transition on A. So earlier there were no epsilon transitions, you are directly taking A as input. Now because there are epsilon transitions, before taking your input A, first you apply epsilon, then you reach some states, then you apply A, then you get some set of states, and then you apply A, then you will get some set of states. This is the equivalent of processing A or some input string on your NFA epsilon. So tomorrow I'll continue. I'll stop here and we'll continue with the remaining NFA epsilon and processing the strings on NFA epsilon and so on tomorrow. So for today, thank you.